friends, and welcome to another Watch with Ray. I'm doing a little review here today. I saw Outpost from 2023 this past weekend. It's a very small showing. It's from 2022. So this must have been making the rounds, been on a shelf, something. I no one in my theater but me. It's okay. I enjoyed it, quiet on my own. But I went on a nice Sunday afternoon. I'm going to keep this short and sweet, and I'm going to give it a recommend right off the bat, but I'm going to say wait till it's streaming. Don't go to the theaters to see it. I would say if you wanted low stakes rent, cool. But a little bit about, that's the TLDR, TL semicolon DR. That's pretty much it. But if you want to know a little bit more about it, stay tuned. But I'm not going to spoil anything because it's highly spoilable. So I'm not going to. There's a huge twist ending. So I'm not going to get too far down the road. It's kind of like what I did with Adam Driver Shoots Dinosaurs. So the pretty much the summary on IMDb, summation as such. After a violent attack, a woman searches for strength in the solitude of a lookout job, but is overwhelmed by something darker. So we learn right off the bat. Anyhow, let me first start and say this was written and directed by Joe Lo Truglio. The guy from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Joe Lo Truglio. Yeah, that's it. I'm probably saying that wrong, but y'all know him. If you saw him, you're like, hey, that's what's his face from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He wrote this and he directed it. This is his first full-length film. And because the only thing he's directed, it looks like from IMDb, has been episodes of TV shows, one being Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And this is obviously his first horror foray. And for a horror movie, not bad for a horror movie. For your first attempt, I think he's got a voice here that he's got some good voicing of what I think that I'd like to hear more from him. I'd like to see more from him. But where this falls flat some places is definitely plot, a little bit of plot, and some of the dialogue is real. It's cumbersome. Isn't it a song? Cumbersome. Weird. Some of the actors, definitely, I've seen them in other things, and they are. Dylan Baker's in this fucking movie. Dylan Baker and his wife, Mama Lasso. If anybody has seen the most recent episode of Ted Lasso, Becky Ann Baker, are both in this movie, playing in this movie. They're very good actors, and Dylan Baker in particular has some lines that it didn't feel natural, and you can definitely tell it didn't feel natural to him because the delivery's not 100%. And again, I'm not a film actor, but I can definitely tell when something is just it doesn't feel right in your mouth. And in that points, it seemed like it didn't feel right. There was no good mouth feel. Let's just say that. So a little bit about the movie, just to get into it. You have Kate, who has been through a horrific ordeal of domestic violence, to the point where she almost lost her eye. Her boyfriend almost punched her so hard, her eye is just. She looks a mess. Poor girl look a mess in this. Her eye is just completely swollen. She's cuts all over her face. She's traumatized, and she's also right off the bat having hallucinations from obviously PTSD from being. And also we learn they can't find him. He beat her and left, and the police have not been able to find him. At least that's what she tells us. I don't have any reason to doubt that, but there we are. So she's talking to her friend Nikki, and she's begging Nikki, can you work it out with your brother? Please work it out with your brother that I can go and volunteer as a what was it called? Outlook, as a like a national park outlook. So what she's going to do is pretty much a park ranger, not a national park same thing. So she's going to go literally live in this tower 24/7 for 3 months, and there's a generator because there's some electricity, I think. There's no running water, so she's got to use an outhouse. Cool. It is sparse digs. Let's just say sparse digs to live in. But my first note that I wrote, and I'm like, yep. She goes into town to get, supplies. And I just said, this fucking movie feels like a sexual assault waiting to happen. Like, everybody is skeevy on her, like, and she of course is has a hallucination there about getting assaulted, not sexually assaulted, just physically assaulted by like one of the people working in the store, or one of the, and so you got that heightened tension of like, Jesus, and that part is why I was like, God, everyone feels like they're either coming on to her or they're gonna punch her in the head. Like, it's very tense. It's very tense, and everyone's got a weird personality. This Dylan Baker is real weird in this movie. Like, at times real nice, and then time like sarcastic all the time, but like at times like at least caring, and then at times like kind of a dick. So okay. And he plays like the neighbor, her like closest neighbor, who is a doctor, and his name is Reggie. And so the person that Nikki's brother, Mike, I'm no, sorry, not Mike, Earl, he pulled some strings to get her to get her to the job, pretty much. And he's like, "Are you fucking sure you want to do this? Like I've done it a number of times, and it is not fun. Like, this is so off the, off the course of what you would normally be doing." I think she mentioned at some point, she took all the, she must have been working in the medical profession. I think she said something about the medical profession. So she, she's starting to like get into her routine, but like literally the first night she has a hallucination that the boyfriend Mike has somehow found her, gotten keys to the tower. And like, it's one of those points where if you are having this like hallucination, if you're suffering PTSD, you're not making the connections. Like, how would he have keys to the, like, that was my first thought, was like, well, how the fuck did he get keys to the thing? I mean, this is obviously a hallucination, but obviously I don't have PTSD. And so I'm making these connections, and unfortunately she is not. So she freaks out. Is this where she, no, this isn't it. Yep. So she decides to like go visit Reggie. And he, he's very kind in this point. Like, he's a, he's set in his ways, old, kind of like crotchety old man, but but sweet at times. And he gives her some tea because he has, I guess he calls it Chinese, he calls it Chinese medicine. That's what he calls it. And he doesn't call it Asian medicine. I think he calls it Chinese medicine. And that he grows, Chinese medicinal herbs that he grows. And so he gives her a bag of tea, and he's like, "This will calm you." And she's like, immediately thinks that like he's trying to like to drug her and then obviously have sex with her. She then decides to, okay, so she's afraid to drink this tea, and then I forgot how she gets down to, she goes to go to the bathroom, and she sees a full-on like naked man like donger just like flipping and flopping, and it's a hallucination. And she throws her keys to her car in the shitter. So she is now isolated. She can't get down the mountain. Cool. And I think this we're going to stop because we start to get really into the hallucinations. So, long story short, lots of hallucinations. You, as the viewer, don't know, okay, is this fucking real or not? Or, you know, what's really happening in real time? Like, the more I sat with the movie after, I was like, oh, that's kind of ingenious. That's kind of cool. Like, that's clever. But as I said, the plotting is real, like, interesting. It's a real interesting plot thread. If we're doing our ratings, blood and gore, it's blood that you would see on Syfy, I think. I'm trying to think if there's anything that's really, I mean, there's some gore. I'm trying to look at my notes. I don't think there was a ton. No, I mean, yeah, I mean, there's some gross elements that definitely come into play. Definitely gross. So I'm going to give it probably a 2. Probably a 2 for that. Spooky, scary. Well, I'm going to give it a 2 because, again, you don't know what's a hallucination, what's not. There's a 1 or 2 jump scares. Nothing like, I guess the other thing would be, you know, having this assault happen, and you slowly, not even slowly, quite quickly, start to lose your mind, like lose your mental faculties, is very, very frightening. Sex and nudity there, besides seeing a dong and everything being like, well, so you know what? Not the dong part, but the there's some other inappropriate things that have been done to this character, and again, dong. And I'm gonna say probably 1.5. And like I said, everything feels like a fucking sexual assault, and it's like just on the edge of somebody gonna get hurt. Fun and entertainment. Coal Black Hearts. I'm gonna say 2.5. It's not awful. It's not an awful movie. I think that, like, it moves fast. But I think that, like, just some tightening up a little bit, maybe, and maybe some clear, more like editing, just needed something. It needed it meandered a little bit, or that's not the word I'm looking for. It wasn't. It was, yeah. I don't want to say too much in that, and I don't want to spoil it. So yeah, that's what I think about that. We have an episode coming out this weekend. We're going to be covering Eight-Legged Freaks and Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge, because it is Mall Madness May. Yeah, so, and we just finished up the last of the episodes of The Last of Us. We finished up the last of The Last of Us. And so yeah, so check that out. That'll be up soon. Yeah, so stay tuned for more spookiness. Keep it spooky.